Camnet TV, not just another channel.
And now the news in detail. Resident Doctors Association of Zambia President Dr. Brian Sampa has been fired from government. In a letter addressed to him, government has cited willful absconding from work for 10 days, which guarantees a dismissal from the civil service. Dr. Sampa has been leading the recent go-slow by the doctors in a bid to press for salary arrears and settling in allowances and employing at least 500 doctors. We have more in this report.
Dr. Brian Sampa, leader of the Resident Doctors Association, has been dismissed from the civil service, who had his license initially suspended, according to the Health Professions Council of Zambia, in a letter addressed to him as a junior resident medical officer employed on the 25th of March 2019, has been fired in a layman's language with effect from 1st June 2021. This means he has only served government for 2 years. The letter cites the condition of Public Service number 60A as read with the disciplinary code and procedure for handling offences in the Public Service number 21A and 3. Dr. Sampa has been instrumental in demanding for better conditions of service, leading to a go-slow that went on for at least 6 days. Dr. Sampa has confirmed this development to Camnet TV.
The thing is that I still remain the president of the Resident Doctors Association of Zambia. And if this is meant to intimidate and deter me from fighting for the cause of the doctors, then it's misplaced. Because we as an association, we shall continue fighting. These personal problems will not deter us from fighting. We are not shaken, and the battle shall continue until the doctor's plight is heard. And we wish to state here that the membership shouldn't even feel bad about this. This is but one person, but we've got bigger problems we are dealing with. So we'll focus on ensuring that all those demands which were made earlier, before the go-slow was called off, are met. And we are due to review the outcome of the 2 weeks window which was given to the government. So for now, this is the news which is there, and it's not something which we should worry about. Only death is going to stop us from fighting for the voiceless.
However, this dismissal comes a few days after Patriotic Front Media Director Antonio Mwanza called on the authorities to dismiss all protesting doctors and hire people who would serve the interests of the people.
Not sit aside and look while the lives of the Zambian people, the lives of the patients to which these doctors are vowed to save, are being lost. Because these doctors don't want to work, even after they have been paid. We therefore call upon the government to quickly move in and dismiss all the resident doctors who are on strike.
Could this be the reason Dr. Sampa has been fired or not? But when contacted today for a comment, Antonio Mwanza said Dr. Sampa was not an enemy in this whole process.
We are not having a fight with Dr. Sampa. We are not having a fight with Dr. Sampa. We are fighting for sanity. So Dr. Sampa is not really an issue.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Vice President Inonge Wina has directed water utility companies to ensure water contamination, poor quality, low quantities and wastage are avoided at all costs. The Vice President has also directed the Ministries of National Development Planning and Water Development to work closely with her office in designing and developing the Zambezi River Basin Investment Program. Speaking when she officially opened the 9th Zambia Water Forum and Exhibition, Zawafe in Lusaka Monday, Mrs. Wina says this is in order to holistically manage the entire Zambezi Basin. Meanwhile, African Development Bank Country Manager Mary Monyao said new technologies and innovative methods must be adopted in addressing water challenges.
The strategic importance of the Zambezi Basin, whose flow in the Zambezi River cannot be underplayed because it is the fourth largest basin on the continent, as well as being the most important basin that supports industrial, commercial, and domestic, as well as nature media-based social and economic benefits in the country through energy, agriculture, mining, tourism, and water supply activities that are key to meeting our development goals and the country's Vision 2030. In addressing the concerns and raised, I therefore directed the Minister of National Development Planning, working closely with the Minister of Water Development, Sanitation and Environmental Protection, to join the team in my office to design and develop the Zambezi River Basin Investment Program in order to holistically manage the entire basin as developing.
Inspector General of Police Kakoma Kanganja has advised the media to ensure that they remain professional as they give audience to political players during this period of elections. Speaking when he officially opened training of safety journalists on Monday, organized by the bloggers of Zambia, Mr. Kanganja notes that the media remains the only tool for politicians to reach out to their masses in the wake of banned rallies, hence the need to ensure that hate speech is not tolerated. The police chief has also warned members of the public to avoid abusing social media platforms to attack others. And speaking at the same event virtually, the German ambassador to Zambia, Anne Wagner Michel, has noted with concern the shrinking media space for opposition political parties in the public media. We have more in this report.
The Zambian media is generally praised for its coverage before, during and after the elections, but this process of being frontliners of information dissemination, the fourth estate is usually faced with difficulty in gathering accurate information for public consumption, mainly due to political party members' interference and the police service who sometimes get violent, with the media being caught up in the crossfire. Sometimes it leads to serious injuries, worse off, death. With 2 months to holding the general elections in Zambia, it's that time of the year when such incidences are highly recorded. In this regard, the bloggers of Zambia, funded by the German embassy, is training journalists in media safety as they prepare to cover the electoral process. Daniel Sikazwe is Bloggers of Zambia board chairman.
Today, as we start this process, the idea is to listen to one another. What are the responsibilities of the police? What are the responsibilities of the media? Where can we work together to ensure that we protect democracy together? So as bloggers of Zambia, our main role is to ensure that in a society where democracy is developing, there is ethical communication.
The German ambassador to Zambia, Anne Mitchell, says the Zambian media, especially public media, should strive for fair coverage of political leaders in this election year.
Freedom of the press and ensuring that journalists can and will report literally of fear or favor. Zambia has a history of multi-party democracy and peaceful elections. But currently, the political atmosphere is very rough and freedom of the media is under threat. Journalists have been intimidated or harassed for doing their job. Some media outlets have been forced to shut down because of violence or because of other pressures. Some journalists pull back from their jobs because political cadres have attacked them.
The Independent Broadcasting Authority also added a voice on this, urging the media to try and be professional as they help politicians send their messages across.
Capacity building programs such as this one, we as the Independent Broadcasting Authority are also conducting capacity building programs with our licensees, which are focused on election reporting, to ensure that radio and television stations report the elections in an ethical and professional manner.
Meanwhile, Police Inspector General Kakoma Kanganja says the police will ensure that the media space is protected, urging members of the Fourth Estate to ensure that hate speech is not condoned.
That the media plays in informing the public of effects of negative vices such as political violence and electoral-related crime. The media are all our weather partners, and during police operations such as ground control and management, the presence of the media acts as an oversight body and to some extent regulates the conduct of police officers. Are you aware of that? The colleagues, are you aware? Good. I must confess that the tools that the journalists use to cover events also help to regulate the conduct of police officers as they execute their duties, more especially in the field of operation. It always makes police officers to always operate in ethical and professional and impartial manner.
The training has attracted journalists from 4 provinces, among them Lusaka and Southern provinces. Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Patriots for Economic Progress, PEP, has expressed disappointment with the conduct of the Zambia Police Service for preventing Zambia's main opposition leader, Hakainde Hichilema, from undertaking his political campaign roadshows in Chingola on Sunday. Party President Sean Tembo says this constitutes double standards because the PF themselves are able to do their roadshow campaigns in all parts of the country without any hindrance. Mr. Tembo says his party stands with the UPND, encouraging them to ignore what he terms as a wanton intimidation of the police and proceed with their roadshow campaigns unabated. Meanwhile, Mr. Tembo has advised all political players to exercise maximum maturity and allow peace to prevail before, during and after elections.
Noted with a lot of disappointment what transpired in Chingola, whereby the opposition UPND were prevented from having their roadshow, and yet ECZ mentioned quite specifically that political parties will only be allowed to undertake activities such as roadshows and door-to-door campaigns. And yet when opposition go on the ground, they are prevented from undertaking such activities, which is totally regrettable. And we call upon the PF and this government to give room to the opposition to campaign in the same manner and fashion that the PF themselves are campaigning. However, we do not believe the allegations of assassination attempts which were made by the UPND leader. When we look at the photos of the alleged assassination attempt, we can clearly see that that damage to the vehicle is not caused by a bullet. And we would like to call on leaders in this country to desist from alarming the public so that we can maintain public peace and tranquility.
The Constitutional Court has reserved Friday this week as a day to render its judgment pertaining to a petition challenging the nomination of PF presidential candidate Edgar Lungu to contest in this year's elections. This is in a case where Chapter 1 Foundation Limited, Legal Resources Foundation Limited and Dr. Sishua are challenging the nomination of Mr. Lungu on grounds that it contravenes Article 106 Cap 3 of the Constitution because he has held office twice, adding that standing again would mean him going for a third term. We have more in this report.
The Constitutional Court was on Monday afternoon fully packed with people who came to listen to the petition challenging the nomination of President Edgar Lungu to contest in this year's elections. This is one of the cases that has brought a lot of debate, with many people coming on board to challenge his eligibility. Among those cases is that in which Chapter 1 Foundation Limited, Legal Resources Foundation Limited and Dr. Shishua are challenging the nomination of President Edgar Lungu on ground that it contravenes Article 1063 of the Constitution because he has twice held office. The petitioners argue that President Lungu had contravened the said article the moment he filed in his nomination papers with the returning officer supported by an affidavit stating that he is qualified to contest as a presidential candidate in the general elections. This afternoon, the Constitutional Court sat to hear the case from the parties involved in the matter, with counsel representing the 3 petitioners, John Sangwa, submitting that President Edgar Lungu, who is standing on the PF presidential candidate ticket, violated Article 1063 of the Constitution, and in simple terms, he is not eligible to stand for a third term. According to him, Article 1063 prevents one from standing for a third term, and lawyers representing President Lungu argued that the court had already given a ruling in the Danipule and Bampi Kapalasa case concerning his eligibility and submitted that the court dismissed the petition with cost. But counsel John Sangwa argued that the court has never ruled on the eligibility of President Lungu, but rather all the petitions were seeking interpretation. He submitted that this petition at hand is alleging the contravention of the Constitution, unlike the Kapalasa and Danipule case, which was merely seeking interpretation. He further submitted that the merit of the petition has been demonstrated and prayed that their relief that President Lungu nomination papers be quashed is granted. The court will this week Friday make its judgment in the matter. Miriam Kemba, Camnet TV News.
Attorney General Likando Kalaluka has asked the Constitutional Court to dismiss the case in which Dr. Sishua has petitioned all presidential running mates on grounds that it is incompetence because the running mate is not mentioned at all in Article 52 of the Constitution. The Attorney General submitted that a running mate is not a candidate as per the definition of the term candidate under Article 226 of the Constitution, and that running mate is not required to be voted for independently but relies on the votes of the presidential candidate as per the provisions of Article 110, Cap 3 of the Constitution. He states that the petitioners contend that the import of Article 110 of the Constitution is that everything that pertains to the presidential candidate shall also apply to the vice president. He submits that the court dismiss the preliminary issue and determine the petition on merit as it raises serious issues relating to the contravention of the Constitution. Green Party President Peter Sinkamba says the Constitutional Court should have among their new rules of handling the presidential petition considered broadcasting it live once it starts. Mr. Sinkamba says the petition being a matter of local and international interests, modalities must have been put in place for the media to cover it live for people to follow the proceedings. Mr. Sinkamba explains that this could have also discouraged citizens from going to court to follow the case in view of the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Sinkamba explains that Zambian Chief Justice has guided on the presidential petition and must be heard within the 14 days period. Among the new rules announced include that the petitioners must serve their petition on the respondents within 24 hours after the election, while the respondents will have 4 days in which to respond. The new rules further require that the court should give its decision at the end of the 14 days, but may reserve the reasons for a later date, but that should not exceed 60 days from the day of the last hearing. The Zambia Tax Platform has challenged the Zambian government to increase its domestic health expenditure and use available resources in a more efficient manner. In a video statement made available to the media, Tax Platform Social and Economic Investment Analyst Tambudzi Mutale says the productive capacity of any economy and the well-being of its people largely depends on the quality of health prevalent. Ms. Mutale says while the deterioration of the Zambian macroeconomic environment, partly due to a rising debt problem and the COVID-19 pandemic, and the health sector should not be compromised. She says it is evident that the amount of revenue government raises has limited capacity to spend on critical sector. Giving priority to sectors such as health and education is critical.
We are urging government to increase spending towards the health sector. The productive capacity of any economy and the well-being of its people largely depends on the quality of health prevalent in a country, which is determined by health systems and structures. In this regard, government spending on health is critical for reducing health inequalities and improving the social determinants of health that in turn improve the social and economic status of the population. While the deterioration of the Zambian macroeconomic environment, partly due to a rising debt problem and the COVID-19 pandemic, has made it challenging to mobilize and allocate resources to adequately support social sectors, it is important that the health sector of the country is not compromised due to insufficient spending, as this will have long-term effects on the people as well as the economy as a whole.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News, not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news.
At Master Signs, our services range from outdoor, indoor signage such as billboards, banners, 3D light boxes, pylons and neon signs. We are located at plot number 397A, Makeni Road, Lusaka, at Oryx Filling Station. For more details, call us on +260 967 100 090 or +260 966 999 981, or better still, email us at infomastersign@gmail.com. Master Sign, we will make it shine.
Through the Link Zambia 8000 project, the country has seen increased economic activities as producers no longer face difficulties in accessing markets. Vote for Edgar Chagwa Lungu and the PF that have brought you change.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
To the best mood this June. Be ready to enjoy your downtime with sensational shows, keeping you fully entertained this month on GOTV. Making and playing. Discover all the fun ways to do science at home. Not all heroes wear capes, but doctors wear coats, and they're here to save the day.
Here whenever you need me.
What's done in the dark will always come to light. For your favorite shows, keep connected to GOTV with entertainment to get you in the best mood this June. GOTV. Love it.
Camnet TV is here to entertain, educate and inform you. Catch Rise and Thrive at 0730 hours every Saturday. Fresh and new praise and worship comes Monday to Friday at 8 hours. Kids need to be glued to the TV every weekday at 09 hours for their favorite cartoons. Off the pitch with the boys as they talk about sport on Saturdays at 0930 hours.
Remember, we are also here to entertain you with our different varieties of movies every weekday at 10 hours. Join Pastor Victoria and Moses Chuluwa with Healing Word Ministries International Church live sermon every Sunday at 10 hours.
Katamanda brings to you another journey of gospel ministers on Saturdays at 10:30 hours. The verdict comes to your screens at 17:45 hours. Join the Revival Harvest Church every Sunday at 18:30 hours.
Every Monday to Saturday, join us on the news desk at 12 hours as we bring to you the midday news, and at 19:30 hours Central African time every day for the main bulletin.
The ministry with Pastor Moses Chilua comes every Friday at 20:45 hours. On Mondays, it's your favorite national matters at 20:45 hours.
Wednesday and Thursday, Pastor Victoria and Moses Chuluba are on Partnership of Greatness with different spiritual teachings at 20:45 hours.
And Frank on Camnet comes to your screen every Tuesday at 20:45 hours.
Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, MMD President Dr. Nevas Mumba has warned that Zambia risks joining the list of failed states if the right leadership is not ushered into government after the August 12th general elections. He says the MMD is the right party to take Zambia to greater heights through credible leadership that abides by Christian principles. Speaking during the launch of the party campaign themed A Fresh Start, Dr. Mumba vowed to deal with the politicization of public institutions. He says the last 10 years have left the country more divided on political and tribal lines, with high debt, inflation, and the weakest currency since Zambia's independence. We have more in the following report.
The Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, MMD, also known as the Blues, and if it was in the English Premier League, it would be likened to Chelsea and the one to be counted in the title race to be held on August 12. Dr. Mumba is leading the MMD squad with an emphasis to rebuild the country based on honesty and integrity beyond political and ethnic lines. He warned that failure to usher in the right leadership may see the country becoming a failed state.
That shall have no unruly cadres, as all Zambians shall be treated the same. It is a government where bus stations and markets shall belong to all Zambians and not to one political party and its cadres. It is a government where people from both opposition and ruling parties shall have equal access to save my nation from this dysfunction. Until this is done, Zambia joins the list of many failing African states. I am running for president this year to become the torchbearer to forever change the politics and the direction of our nation. And this I promise.
Dr. Mumba says corruption is killing more Zambians as opposed to COVID-19. Hence, Zambia must be looking for a corruption vaccine and not COVID-19 vaccine, which is said his political party will secure when voted into office. Speaking during the launch of the party's campaign in Lusaka Monday, themed A Fresh Start, Pastor Mumba says judges and magistrates will get double the punishment for engaging in corruption.
In this case, it shall not be less than 30 years in jail, and for the most part, there will be life sentences. These measures shall give Zambia a fresh start. I want you to understand this. These measures shall give Zambians a fresh start. But we cannot only charge these corrupt people. If we find any judge, any magistrate who gets corrupted to free the corrupt, he gets double the price as a judge for indulging himself in high-level corruption.
He says in the last 10 years, Zambia has been taken backwards.
The last 10 years has left us with depleted national coffers. The last 10 years has left us as a national debt, with a national debt unheard of since independence. The last 10 years has left us with the weakest currency ever since independence. The last 10 years has left us with the most expensive essential commodity prices against the backdrop of depleted jobs and less income amongst our people. Against this background, the New Hope MMD promises a fresh start.
The August 12 general elections are tightly contested, and certainly Zambians will have a wide variety of political parties to choose from in this year's elections. Remember, your vote is your choice and your vote is your secret. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
A group of young people making leather shoe products have complained of what they termed as a selective approach in steering youth empowerment programs in the country. The group, based in Lusaka's Kabanana compound, told Camnet News that it has the potential to grow the business and extend the skills to young people, but that it is difficult due to limited capital. We have more in the following report.
Youth empowerment exists in the country, but not everyone can present that testimony. This is a group of young people based in Lusaka dealing in leather products who are trying by all means to stay away from illicit activities. The negative social and economic impact of the COVID-19 has not spared the leather industry in Zambia, as the industry is feeling the pinch of the pandemic due to massive disruption in the way business is done. Several small and medium entrepreneurs in the sector have folded altogether, while some have joined forces to stay afloat. Industry players say that The confinement of people indoors by the COVID-19 had limited movement, which led to low utilization of footwear. This prompted the Leather Industries Association to call on its members to utilize the cluster initiative to overcome challenges associated with the pandemic. But not everyone is affected, as this group based in Lusaka's Kabanana compound, not affiliated to any association, has been able to navigate through tough times as the demand has remained the same. Perhaps it is because in some of these compounds it has been business as usual amid the COVID-19.
Business yesu twalibikamu twalipakwamba twambire na 6,000 ndi twambire kubikamu. Yeah, but in terms of raw materials yat shortira yengi. So kula kwa challenge kusanga yako bati ko trifu raw materials yalewa ya dora. So what me yasani kama 360 na mkwata ko big capital. Yabati mupangire hivi. Then twabika kwa mayouth nga bakubomba mayouth bali abengi bari focus babombi bat join number 3 firo kwa furisha murando ko bati ndara matwete na shipo. Yeah, so nga kwati kwa bati bari kuna empowerment bati watu wafirishe sto ababino kwati na bayouth na bambi basambishe kuna bina besho bifyo kushitira.
He says limited capital is the only challenge they face to grow their businesses.
Kairi meters kai tumapezeka na difference materials yana ngola like hapa meters kama kala ma resine haya tumagola pan Africa tunawashtari per meter should be 75 80 kwacha so tulesonga kufumia munangu 20 pairs or 30 so bakati let's say per day we can manage kupangana ngati 40 pairs per day. Yeah, number mulanda kwa shortage of capital.
They say access to empowerment opportunities remains an issue, but with little help, they can do more.
Partnership fee. So number 3 the government rate period finofini yaisa kuna yamo na youth if bade bomba na shani but pera the company to bombe shani chapa so to amoneki kwa safi kwa flogo kutupara empowerment.
It is a known fact that effective empowerment requires proper targeting. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
The World Health Organization, WHO, governments and other stakeholders have encouraged all smokers to not smoke for 24 hours in an effort to make every day a no tobacco day. Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Dr. Kennedy Malama says smoking in public is a serious infringement on the rights of those who do not smoke. Dr. Malama says the government revised the anti-smoking law to ban smoking in public, whose enforcement should be supported by all. The Permanent Secretary said this when he officiated at the virtual World No Tobacco Day commemoration, which falls on the 6th of June every year. And Dr. Malama states that smokers are likely to be more vulnerable to COVID-19 as the act of smoking exposes fingers and possibly contaminated cigarettes when they come in contact with the lips.
That we bring this evidence to our young people that shisha is as bad as the tobacco use on our health. I wish to emphasize that pollution of air due to tobacco smoke is a serious infringement on the rights of those who do not smoke. It is from this background that the government of the Republic of Zambia revised the anti-smoking laws to ban smoking in public places, and we need to collectively support the enforcement of the existing laws, as every person has a right to breathe tobacco-free air. Further, let me assure stakeholders that government remains committed to considering and tabling the tobacco control bill once all consultations are exhausted and the roadmap remains very clear. To protect young people from initiating tobacco use, it's important to show them pictorial graphic health warnings depicting the dangers of tobacco products. Focus should also be placed on protecting young people from early exposure to tobacco products. And we do have evidence-based high-impact interventions which can be used to prevent our young people from initiating smoking. Smokers are likely to be more vulnerable to COVID-19 as the act of smoking exposes fingers and possibly contaminated cigarettes when they come into contact with the lips, which increases the possibility of transmission of the virus from the hand to the mouth. Further, smoking products such as water pipes often involve sharing of mouthpieces and hoses, which could facilitate the transmission of COVID-19 in communal and social settings. And this applies to the use of shisha, among others.
Meanwhile, 7 people have died of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours as the country continues to record an increase in the number of new infections. In a statement made available to the media, Minister of Health Permanent Secretary for Technical Services, Dr. Kennedy Malama, says the deaths were reported from Lusaka, Copperbelt, and the Eastern Province. Dr. Malama says the cumulative number of COVID-19 related deaths recorded to date now stand at 1,315. Meanwhile, the Health Permanent Secretary says 487 new confirmed cases have been recorded in the last 24 hours, bringing the cumulative number of confirmed cases recorded to date to 100,765. Dr. Malama, however, advised the public to heed to stipulated preventive guidance regarding weddings, funerals, churches, mosques, and other congregate settings, including markets, public transport, and bus stations. He has also mentioned that the government has made progress in enforcing the requirement for digitalized COVID-19 vaccinations. A human rights activist has urged the church to reject what called shut-up allowances from politicians in order to provide objective counsel in this year's elections. Gabriel Mailo notes that the country looks upon the clergy to unite the nation. He says the church must not be swayed from its mandate by entertaining politicians who are in search of votes ahead of the 12 August general election. In the meantime, Mr. Mailo feels it is no longer fashionable for the politicians for the politicization and the use of the tribal talk in order to win an election because Zambians are united on the ground. He made the remarks when he featured on a governance program on Camnet TV dubbed The Verdict. You're watching Camnet TV News. We take a break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our Zesco units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962-642-490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Every day for me means hard work. Going to sell my goods at the local market. To get more customers, I have my secret. Oracle Pure Glycerin. It's soft, smooth, and keeps my skin perfect. And my customers know it. Thank you, Oracle, for my perfect skin.
It's your friends.
I insist.
Your drama.
Do you think you can talk about my dad like that? You in charge.
And intrigue.
Are you out for good or what? What do you want? Dare you say that to me, eh?
Your heroes. It's your moment with your stories. Made at home for your home. 'Cause great stories start on DSTV.
2021 has been described as a highly politically charged year. This is because every 5 years the country goes to the polls, and that 5 years elapses with only a few months remaining down to the ballot. The battlefield to appear on the ballot is becoming fertile. A lot of people are expressing interest of appearing on the ballot.
In all this, our interest is to put the duty bearers, the leaders, and those aspiring to task by asking the relevant questions.
If you're an aspiring candidate, be it councillor, mayor, or member of parliament, get in touch with us to get yourself on the verdict.
We go beyond speculation in dealing with policy and governance issues. The right questions are asked to help you make a verdict.
For more details, you can call us on 0962 965883, 0979 753010, or email us info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Join us on Camnet TV
every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 17:45 hours
on a new program dubbed The Verdict.
Remember that Camnet TV is not just another channel.
Welcome back. This is Camnet TV Main News. In international news, the death toll in the attack on Burkina Faso has risen to at least 160 people, including around 20 children. Gunmen burst into the rural town of Sohan in the northeast of the country last Friday night, leading to the casualties. After the attack, the deadliest in Burkina Faso in 6 years, the country declared a 72-hour national mourning period. In the capital, Ouagadougou, residents are still in shock. Head of French diplomacy, Jean-Yves Le Drian, announced that he will travel to Burkina Faso this week. For several years, France has been militarily engaged in the Sahel to support the countries of the region in the face of jihadist groups. These groups are multiplying attacks not only against soldiers, but also the civilian population as well.
The death toll in the attack on Burkina Faso has risen to at least 160 people, including 20 children. Gunmen burst into the rural town of Sohan in the northeast of the country last Friday night, leading to the casualties. After the attack, the deadliest in Burkina Faso in 6 years, the country declared a 72-hour national mourning period. In the capital, Ouagadougou, residents are still in shock. We're really discouraged by this situation. We're scared now. It hurts us. It hurts us. I'm not happy. The authorities have to look into how they can help the population in these villages in the north. Those there suffer too much. Sohan is not far from the borders with Mali and Niger, an area where attacks attributed to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State jihadists have spiked in recent years. Head of French diplomacy Jean-Yves Le Drian announced he will travel to Burkina Faso this week.
Mali's Colonel Assimi Goïta was sworn into office as the troubled country's transitional president on Monday by the promised elections in early 2022. His role comes after he led a second coup in 9 months in May, and despite international condemnation of his power grab. On May 24, Goïta dismissed the transitional civilian president and prime minister, which caused the former colonial power France to suspend its cooperation with the military. The African Union also suspended Mali's membership. But on Monday, Goïta assured Mali would respect its commitments to the international community and expressed his desire to organize credible, fair, transparent elections within the scheduled deadlines, that is to say, February 2022. After the first coup in August, the government pledged to reform the constitution by October and stage elections in February 2022.
Officials gather in Mali to witness Colonel Assimi Goïta being sworn into office on Monday as the country's transitional president. His role comes after he led a second coup in 9 months in May, and despite international condemnation of his power grab. On May 24th, Goita dismissed the transitional civilian president and prime minister, which caused former colonial power France to suspend its cooperation with the military. The African Union also suspended Mali's membership. The question now is when there'll be a return to civilian rule. After the first coup in August, the government installed pledged to reform the constitution by October and stage elections in February 2022. International powers are now awaiting to see if elections will be held then. Mali is key to the stability of the Sahel region, which is plagued by jihadist groups. Maintaining international partnerships is crucial for Mali, one of the world's poorest countries and whose security forces are thinly resourced.
It's now time for sports news. And in sports news, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has postponed the 2022 African Cup of Nations draw due to logistical reasons related to the COVID-19 pandemic. The draw was initially planned for 25 June 2021. CAF confirmed that a new date will be announced in the due course. Already 31 countries have qualified for the next year's tournament in Cameroon. One team still remains to qualify between Benin and Sierra Leone after their match was rescheduled for this month. The request to postpone the draw was made by the Cameroon Local Organizing Committee, LOC, citing logistical issues. The statement added that CAF continues to work together with its partners, the Cameroon government and the LOC, with the objective of making the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations Cameroon 2021 a successful event and a great celebration of African football. The Zambia Ladies Open closed off yesterday after 3 days of gameplay by top amateurs from all over Africa. Defending champion Daniele Becker from Zimbabwe put up a spirited effort, but however finished second to Jahanvi Walia, who won the tournament 9 shots clear. More in this report.
This week, Bonanza Golf Club hosted the Zambia Ladies Open, which took place over the last 3 days, bringing with it players from all across Africa. Speaking to Camnet TV about the event, the ZLGU president, Carol Masisani, had this to say.
We have Total Energies that have come on board as our platinum sponsors, among other sponsors that have come on board. We are very, very grateful. This sponsorship will help us, and it drives our motivation as we aim at the objectives of growing ladies golf in the country. We are expecting 80 players, both local and international, to take part in the tournament. So far, we've got players from Zimbabwe, we've got players from Uganda, as well as Malawi that will be taking part in this tournament. We've got top players from all these countries, including our own Zambian players.
Total Energies, formerly known as Total, is excited to be here and to be the main sponsors of the Ladies Open. We always are for promoting sports, and it's nice to know that different countries will be participating this year in the Ladies Open. Diversity is very important to us, and it's nice to know that different cultures will be interacting on the golf course. So this is not just for physical benefits, but also social reasons, which we highly support.
As seen here, conditions appeared to be unfavorable for players as winds didn't just blow, but low temperatures as well added to the challenging days of play. Defending champion Danielle Becker from Zimbabwe finished with the first round of 4 over and had a consecutive score of 5 over in the second and third round to secure second place. While Margaret Nyamukondiwa, also from Zimbabwe, closed off third, 1 shot behind the defending champion. Jahanvi Walia, who opened with a round of 1 over, had a solid second round of 2 under par and closed off the last round with 6 over par, finishing as the overall champion 9 shots ahead of the nearest competitor. Michael Chiluba, Camnet TV Sports News, Bonanza.
That golfing item brings us to the end of the news, but we take a look at the headlines once more. Government fires resident doctors president after PF directive. ECL eligibility judgment reserved for Friday. German government concerned with a little public media coverage being given to the opposition. And in international news, death toll in Burkina Faso attack rises to at least 160. And in sports news, CAF postpones 2022 Africa Cup of Nations draw. The Camnet World Verse of the Day is coming from the book of Psalms 90, verse 2 and 4, and it reads, "Before the mountains were born, or you brought forth the whole world, from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. 1,000 years in your sight are like a day that has just gone by, or like a watch in the night." My name is Jeffrey Zambo, and thanks for watching Camnet TV World News, not just another channel. Bye-bye.